All right. Something I'm really curious about, just knowing, the level and depth that each of you thinks about these topics. What are trends that you're seeing, and how do they impact your role? So it's a new year, 2021. We've got some uncertain amount of time with the pandemic left to deal with. Businesses are growing and evolving. Got to go execute on the new year's plan. What are the trends that you're seeing in RevOps?
So a trend that I've been seeing, which I love, is that, you typically in sales ops have to, or revenue ops have to fight to be a part of meetings. Is you hear about something and you're like, we should be involved in that. Now we are a requirement. Projects and product launches and things that are happening, we actually have to sign off on them now, which is fantastic. It's something that we all hope would happen and just didn't think it would happen this soon. But that has been something that I'm seeing that really impacts how our team moves forward. And it comes back to that communication that we've been talking about, and the partnerships with the other teams is, we've been connecting the dots for so many years to bring people together. And now we're kind of in that seat where things can't really go forward until we've been involved and we've signed off on it. So that's a trend that I've been seeing that just honestly just makes our job so much easier in the long run. So a positive trend.
Yeah. How about you, Heidi?
I could not agree more with that. I can't tell you how many companies I've worked at where an offering goes live and a quote comes in. I'm like, we don't even have a SKU for this. When did this happen? I don't know anything about this. so many times. So it's wonderful to be part of having that seat at the table and them knowing we're all trying to make this rocket ship go faster. And if you exclude these people, it's going to go slower. And so I love that. For me personally, it's the customer experience is first and foremost. So I love a 360 view of the customer. One of the first things I want to build everywhere is, okay, we can see who we want to sell to. We can identify our ICP, but how are they using the product? When are they using the product? What for, where, et cetera. And we have so many siloed systems. So bridging those gaps, building out a data warehouse, just anything to get that 360, which in tandem establishes an awesome BI program without even knowing it. You're kind of working both at the same time. And that's just the adoption for that. It's so much easier now than I've seen in the past. People know it's vital to growth.
Yeah. How about you, Justin?
I think two things that I think about. The one is again, looking at the systems aspect and how, so much that needs to go through the revenue funnel hits a system at some point along that funnel, is we've seen a stronger reliance on product management disciplines and bringing product management rigor to internal systems and internal teams. So where product managers typically work on externally customer-facing products, products, we've seen a transition of those roles to internal teams and functions and applying that same level of rigor and discipline. So, a backlog of requests that is valued and ranked by value to the business, clear communication to the business, accurate sizing of stories and stories and requests that need to be built out. So I think that's been one of the key things, which is so crucial, which is why I think it was Heidi who said we're all agile. Yes, we have to be agile, and we've got to continue leaning into that product management mindset in what we're bringing to the business. That's the first thing. The second thing that I think is just going, again, was referenced earlier around the topic of definitions, is we're all just working with data at the end of the day, is what it feels like. And so that the discipline of data governance is becoming more and more important. And it's and there are so many facets to that field. But I think RevOps is central to the establishment of a data governance culture and the implementation of data governance frameworks, because we've got such a weird mix of data coming from products, actual systems that we're selling, logs, humans interacting in Salesforce, emails being sent out to customer, etc. And to be able to report effectively with true insights for the business that the business can trust, and that are actually going to give us insights that we can do something with, we've got to have a data governance mindset, a data stewardship mindset throughout that, that revenue funnel.
It's so funny you talk about that. My team is putting together the first data quality strategy To be honest, I don't even know what that is outside of our company, but it's something that we know that we have to drive because we own data quality. But honestly, the entire company should be owning it and responsible. We all put in data into all the different systems, but it's something that my team has identified is that we need to track all the systems where all the data is coming in, how we're managing all of it, what our auditing is around that. And it's actually something that we're doing. If anyone has ever done something like this before, can provide any, any help on this, it's just something that we're trying to put together. It was like a 2-page outline and now it's like a 50-page document. But that's something that is so important, and it all comes to us when people have questions. They're coming to my team, and we just want to have something that outlines everything that we're doing, and that's across, like, marketing's participating, finance is participating in this, and it's just so that we all understand all the data coming in, all the data going out, who's responsible for what, and the system of record. So it's funny that you talk about that. It's important. Yeah,
I really recommend a book that I've probably read now two times and dip into pretty often, and listen to the audiobook. It's a thin book, very accessible. It's called Non-Invasive Data Governance. And the principle behind it is that everybody is governing data. We're just not doing a great job of it. So the idea is that to identify, how are we governing data, and then formalize the process and bring accountability into that framework. But I think you're right. I think it's got to be central to the RevOps function.
Yeah. One other trend that I've noticed, and it's even come out of, meeting with each of you and with the folks that we've had involved in our RevOps roundtables. We actually emerged, we grew out of those RevOps roundtables, a Salesforce Architect roundtable. And it's really fun. The stuff we get into, it's, folks from SaaS companies that are the architects, and it's such an interesting role. And even Salesforce, so they had the CTA, and a lot of people thought about this CTA role. I think there are only a couple of hundred on the planet. And to achieve that, you had to get the systems architect and the application architect designations, which require a handful of certs each. Well, Salesforce has introduced now the B2C solution architect, and are now introducing what's been an internal designation to them for years, which is called an enterprise architect. And that enterprise architect, which is the combination of awareness of systems, data, and the business processes. I think that's going to be a sort of an interesting emerging trend as another role that we'll be talking about more within organizations. In fact, Justin, I think you have architects on your team.
That's right. Yeah, and they're crucial. I think we'd be in trouble without them.
Yeah.